I'm attorney Amanda Shaffer. Welcome to Notable Approvals. Today, we are going to talk about a really fascinating case about a client who had a green card for over 15 years, then was alleged to have fraudulently obtained it, only to then get a green card again at the end. So it's definitely a happy ending. So my client, he is a native and citizen of Jamaica. He entered the U.S. back in 1989 with a B2 visitor visa. Shortly after, he is an electrician, and he was offered a job by a company in the U.S. who said, "We'll sponsor you. Go find an attorney." So he finds an attorney to help him file a labor certification petition and an adjustment of status application. Goes to the lawyer. The lawyer says, "Okay, I'll take care of it." The lawyer files everything. And a few months later, my client gets his green card and thinks nothing of it. He travels in and out of the country, no problem. It was a skilled worker petition that he was told was filed, and he is a skilled worker as an electrician, so it all checked out. 1995, he files for naturalization and is denied. But the denial says something like they didn't have proof of his lawful entry, which is a very strange thing to say to a permanent resident who's made several entries in and out of the U.S. But his attorney at the time didn't really explain it to him, and my client, understandably, didn't understand what that meant. So he's like, I'll just hold off applying for citizenship for now. I don't need to anyway. He continues his life. He has a wife and children he files for. They're all permanent residents or citizens now. And he continues to travel abroad and re-enter the U.S. without any problems. So in 2012, he decides, I'm going to file for naturalization again. So he does. And he's waiting. And 4 years later, we're in 2016 now, he finally gets his decision. And it's a denial, not just a denial, but it's a referral to immigration court. They have now trying to not only say that he can't be a citizen, but we're going to try to deport you. And that's when he came to us. And on the notice to appear in immigration court, it said that they alleged to have fraudulently obtained his green card. Essentially, it actually said in the facts that somebody paid off an employee who worked at USCIS who was making these fake green cards, not just for him, but for a lot of people. My client tells us, I have no idea what this is about. So we do a Freedom of Information Act request, or a FOIA, to get his entire file. Now, to be honest, when a client tells us they don't know what something's about, usually they kind of do. At least maybe they didn't affirmatively know, but there were hints, and they should have known. But this guy's my client. He's like, I really didn't know. We get the FOIA back, and we're like, okay, well, immigration's right that there's no labor certification application filed for you, no I-140. There's a green card application, but it doesn't look like your green card was issued properly. Now, also keep in mind, I forgot to mention, he also had to file to renew his green card more than once by filing the Form I-90. Those were approved without a problem too. So he really, understandably, had no idea. So we say, okay, well, here's the problem. Number one, you never had an underlying petition. So even though you had no idea what was going on, you need another way to get a green card. And number two, we still have to prove that you had no idea that this was going on, because they're saying that you did. So we sat him down. We went through all the questions we'd ask him at trial. How'd you find the attorney? I saw a poster on a bus. I called the number. The attorney said, I'll take care of it. He found the retainer agreement from 1989 that we submitted to show what the attorney said. I'm going to file the labor certification, the petition, the application, all that good stuff. So we had every piece of evidence to show that my client's belief was reasonable. And then luckily, one of his children obtained his residency and eventual citizenship by marrying a U.S. citizen. So that son was able to petition for him. So we filed the I-130. That got approved. We will go to see the judge. And this was his first time before the judge, was right before they stopped terminating cases to allow adjustment of status before USCIS. So the judge said, oh, is this a straightforward adjustment? Well, we can terminate if you want. And I said, Your Honor, there's a bigger issue here. I think USCIS is going to put him right back here if that happens. So we decided to wait the few years for the individual hearing. At the individual hearing, we proved that my client had no idea that any of this was going on, that he reasonably believed he was a permanent resident all these years. He relied on this attorney that he hired who actually ended up going to jail for what he had done, not just with my client, but a lot of different people. And my client, his green card adjustment of status was granted. So this redacted approval notice from the judge, and he walked out of there with his green card, and in a few more years will be eligible again to file for citizenship. So this was definitely a notable approval, considering it's always tough when you're trying to prove that your client had no idea about some huge fraudulent scheme that was taking place all these years ago. And it was a huge win, and we were really happy for him. That is all for notable approvals. I will catch you guys next time with a different fact pattern and a different issue to talk about. Have a great day.